Hi guys, Mystic here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you the truth about postpartum depression. And before you say I'm too young to know what I'm talking about, my closest family members call me a grandma, so please hear me out. If you type PPD into a search engine, you'll most likely get something like a form of depression suffered by a mother following childbirth. This form of depression is said to be stemmed from a combination of hormonal changes, fatigue, and the psychological adjustments of becoming a mother. What the search engine won't tell you is that we created postpartum depression. With three things: judgment, expectation, and projection, we have put a wrench in the joys of motherhood and caused women around the world more pain, anxiety, and suffering than they should ever have to deal with. In the past 15 years, postpartum depression has increased by over 50%, with 2/3 of moms stating that they have been criticized and shamed by their child's other parent, their in-laws and/or parents, other moms, and even their childless friends. Is there anyone left to shame us? Who wouldn't be depressed? Recent studies and polls suggest that moms are being judged for so many things, including breastfeeding or not breastfeeding, vaccinating their children, not vaccinating their children, homeschooling, not taking maternity leave, their form of discipline, co-sleeping, getting an epidural, not getting an epidural, the name that they choose for their child, nursery decor, and even getting a C-section. After hearing that list, if you're not wondering why,
You were part of the problem.
if you think I'm a bad mom because I look like a mess right now,
You were part of the problem.
if you think that I'm a bad mom because I took an hour out of my day to straighten my hair,
You were part of the problem.
people say that it's so important for us to breastfeed, yet when they see a woman breastfeeding in public, there's outrage. How long you breastfeed your child is not important. When you start giving them solid foods is not that important. People judge if you aren't giving your kids solid foods at 6 months old. I'm sorry, did you not hear that breast milk has everything a child needs from ages 0 till 2 years? Now more than ever, it's important to understand that some people just don't have a choice. Some women would love to breastfeed or have a vaginal delivery, but there are complications surrounding this that sometimes doesn't allow women to do this. So when you're sitting there breastfeeding your baby and another woman is feeding her child formula, don't judge. I was a formula-fed baby, and I think I turned out okay. Although judgment isn't the sole reason for postpartum depression, it kickstarts the whole process. The good thing is it's not too late to stop postpartum depression in its tracks. So let's get started. First, whether you're pregnant or have already delivered, don't ask other moms to go into detail about their childbirth. Only one thing is going to happen. Both of you are going to end up telling your story, and one of you is going to leave feeling insecure because one of your childbirths was more seamless than the other. Hearing that somebody flawlessly had a baby, went through pregnancy, morning sickness free, can cause a lot of issues for someone who is expecting or even has already had a child. It can make them feel like something's wrong with them or give them expectations about their pregnancy that aren't true, and when those expectations don't hold up, depression sets in. And speaking of expectations, don't have expectations for yourself. Just throw those expectations out the window. You are going to have a child. Your body is going to change in ways you can't imagine, and you're just going to have to love yourself. Don't project anything. Understand that when the baby arrives, you won't be able to get back to your normal lifestyle right away. The house isn't always going to be clean, the clothes aren't always going to be washed, the chores aren't always going to be done, and that's okay. Do not set a timeline for yourself. Don't say that by this time I'm going to lose this weight. By this time I'm going to start putting dinner on the table every night. And by this time I'm going to return to work. You are going to disappoint yourself. And with that disappointment comes depression. Recovering from pregnancy is a long process. Just because you're cleared to have sexual activity and go back to your normal exercises does not mean that everything goes back to normal. Don't take people's crap. If anyone tries to put you down or criticize you or shame you, tell them like it is. Being a mom is hard enough without the added judgment from people who are close to you and people you don't even know. Take care of yourself. It is just as important for you to take care of yourself as it is for you to take care of your baby. But take it from me, it's not always easy. Another thing that's important to understand is that depression does not set in immediately after giving birth. It can take up to a year afterwards, and you won't be the only one that's affected. It can affect your baby, your spouse, and the rest of your family. In order to get rid of PPD, we really need to understand that judgment, expectation, and projection are the main causes, and if we get rid of those, we will never have an issue. As mothers, we can't do it alone. Instead of telling her what you think she's doing wrong, tell her what she's doing right, and everything else will eventually fall into line. If your wife or girlfriend is going through a pregnancy, do not tell her that she's getting bigger. Don't tell her anything that she can take negatively, because even if it's a joke to you, she will remember that for the rest of her life. 3 weeks after giving birth to my first child, my father-in-law told me that my stomach was finally going down, and this was a good thing because last week I looked like I still had a baby in there. This may have been a joke to him, but to me it wasn't. These types of things are not okay, and comments like this can be a huge trigger to postpartum depression. Throw out the window the mentality that just because a mom is old or young means that she can't take care of her family. Instead of saying things like you're doing it wrong, you're not doing this right, you need to do this, you need to do that, why haven't you done this yet? Talk about the things that are going well. Any help that is given without request will result in the mother feeling like she is not doing her job appropriately. When we went on our first mini vacation, our son was about 6 months old. We went with my in-laws, and it turned out that my mother-in-law had packed everything that my child needed. And this may sound like a nice thing to do, but it literally made me feel like I was incompetent. The whole mini vacation, I was trying to suppress the depression that I felt and the feeling that I wasn't good enough. Let people raise their own children how they want to raise them. If they are not hurting them or endangering their well-being, then carry on. I'm sorry, did you give birth to my child? Stop asking moms why their kid isn't talking or why their kid isn't reading. Putting expectations on kids puts a lot of strain on the mother and makes her think she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing. Not all kids start talking at 2 years old. Just because you have an 8 or 9 hour workday and she's at home watching the baby does not mean that she didn't do as much work as you did. Just because she got a nap today while the baby was sleeping does not mean she's less tired or has more energy than you do. Judgment, expectation, projection. Judgment, expectation, and projection. Stay positive and let her do what she needs to do. Together, we can change the course of postpartum depression and help moms to focus on what's important, the next generation. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them.